every year when the schedules come out, there's one duel that I rush to see. All right, when is it? Where's this going down? And for me, it's Penn State versus Iowa. And it's going down in just a couple of days. It's going down Friday, January 16th. The number one ranked Penn State Nittany Lions headed to Carver Hawkeye Arena where they're going to take on the very highly ranked Iowa Hawkeyes. And a dual meet that now has a lot more questions maybe than it had a couple of days ago, right? There's no question about the Penn State team that's going to be coming to Iowa City, but there's some doubts on who will and won't be wrestling for the Iowa Hawkeyes. So I'm going to preview this entire dual meet. Give you my rundown of who I think is going to win the particular matches and any other storylines along the way. Starting at 125 pounds, Dean Peterson, ranked number 7, taking on number 2, Luke Lillidahl. Now, we haven't seen Dean in a while. He didn't wrestle against Wisconsin. He didn't wrestle in the Uncivil War. Last time we saw him, I believe, was the Iowa State match. Now, for Dean, he's someone who, if you're wondering, if you're trying to predict, is he going to wrestle or not? Well, don't look at the probables, because the last 3 probables have listed Dean Peterson in them, and he hasn't wrestled. So I don't know what the plan is. We've seen Joey Cruz. We've seen Keon Hernandez. No sign of Leo DeLuca as of yet. So I don't know if we'll see Dean Peterson versus Luke Lillidahl, but let's operate under that assumption. And let's go back to last year where Dean Peterson actually knocked off Luke Lillidahl at Rutgers. This was a late takedown that Dean was able to get and wound up knocking off and pulling off the upset over Luke Lillidahl. Now, 1 year later, how replicable is that result? Can Dean Peterson possibly do that again? I think it is going to be a competitive match because Luke Lillidahl in year 2, he hasn't shown that level of separation that many thought we might see this year. He's still the second-ranked guy. He's still, in many people's eyes, the favorite to win a national title. But I think if Dean Peterson makes the walk, it's a competitive match. It's not going to be something where we're going to see separation from Luke Lillidahl. I'm thinking it's a one takedown bout, which puts Dean Peterson squarely in the middle of potentially winning this match. Now, for Dean, this is interesting. Everyone thinks about home mat advantage, and Dean will have that. But this is also, going from where he wrestled at Rutgers now at Iowa, there's a lot of pressure on Dean in this match. He's publicly said how he feels about Penn State after he beat Luke Lillidahl. And so the pressure's going to be on him. And a lot of people are going to wonder, is he going to make the walk and end up wrestling? I hope we see this match. I think it'll be a great one. And Luke's been wrestling pretty much all year. He's looked good. Dean has had some nice results. He beat Troy Spratley. But I think it's Luke Lillidahl here at 125 pounds. Then we go to 133. We've got Marcus Blaze versus Drake Ayala. Drake ranked number 11. Can you believe that? The finalist a year ago, now down at number 11, and he sits at 4-4 is his record. And a loss to Marcus Blaze would put him sub 500. Hard to imagine that being the case in January, but that's where Drake Ayala sees himself. Marcus Blaze has been every bit as advertised, exactly what people thought he was going to be. Undefeated, highly dominant, tons of bonus points. And for Drake, it's a great opportunity to get back on his winning ways. And this is really going to be the biggest, the most high-pressure match that Marcus Blaze has wrestled in his collegiate career. Obviously, he wrestled Tyler Knox earlier, but there's a different sort of vibe when you're going against Drake at Carver Hawkeye Arena. And I think it's going to be a Marcus Blaze win here. I think what I saw from Drake in the Zan Fugit match, he still got the ability to get the legs, but he gave up a go behind against Fugit, and I think, man, if you're going to go behind the Zan, Marcus Blaze is kind of like the next level for, that short offense. So I think he's got the edge there. I'm not expecting a blowout here. I think some people may think that's a possibility. I think it's a Marcus Blaze decision. One takedown off of his own offense, maybe one counter takedown. Don't think the mat will be much of a factor here. But I'm picking Blaze. I think he's just been better this year. And when you talk about pedigree and what he's been able to prove outside of the NCAA mat, it makes it even tougher to pick Drake in this spot. Then we make our way up to 141. Nasir Bailey, number 15 rank, taking on number 8, Braden Davis, who is Once again, not redshirting. He was in the lineup last week against Rutgers. Redshirt has been pulled. He's going 41 for Penn State moving forward. And he looks solid. There's not a ton of data for this year for Braden Davis to say, all right, this is a guy ready to get fifth like he did last year at NCAA Tournament 133. But that being said, Nasir Bailey has really been having a hard time this year. He's been in and out of the lineup. Cale Peterson was also listed as a possibility here for the Iowa Hawkeyes. I think I'm expecting a very low-scoring, low-attack rate match here between these two, feeling each other out. I would be surprised to see these two really engage with a lot of leg attacks. But at the end of it all, I've got to go with Braden Davis. I think he's going to get the win. He looks really active, and that's something I think is important, like activity rate. How much are you attacking? How often are you trying to score? I think that's key against someone like Nasir Bailey, who's not going to give you a lot of opportunities. You got to be attacking, and I think Braden's going to attack just enough to take out Nasir Bailey. Then we move up to 149, Ryder Block versus Shane Van Ness. Ryder Block, man, he's been a great bright spot for the Iowa Hawkeyes this year. You know, after missing basically the first 2 seasons of college, he comes in, he immediately gets himself ranked in the top 10, and now he sits at number 10, but he's going against Shane Van Ness. Van Ness, the number 1 ranked guy in America, the favorite to win a national title at 149. Amazing re-attacks. He's a pit bull in the hand fight, can attack really from everywhere. And I think, you know, seeing Ryder kind of fade against Joey Zargo last week makes me feel like this could get a little out of hand between Van Ness and Ryder Block. So I've got Shane Van Ness pulling off the win here, taking out Ryder Block and extending the Penn State lead through the first 4 matches. And then it's not going to get any easier when you go to 157. This Penn State lineup refuses to quit. Number 2, PJ Duke, the true freshman, the phenom, the guy that beat Yanni twice, made the world team, and then went to high school the following Monday. Legendary stuff from PJ Duke, and he's off to a fantastic start in his career. He's already beaten 2 All-Americans in the first couple months of his career. He beat Gavin Drexler of North Dakota State and Daniel Cardenas in the same day. And so now standing in his way is number 11 Jordan Williams or Victor Voinovich. Don't know who we're going to see. I would guess Williams. It seems like he's earned the starting spot, but you know, with Coach Brands, he sometimes will, you know, throw a curveball at you. So both guys are listed, but for Jordan Williams, he's got that knockout ability and the ability to out scramble and potentially cradle, which, you know, makes him a threat and makes him dangerous. But PJ Duke, a full size, very big, very physical 57-pounder. I just don't see Jordan able to. I think he's going to struggle with PJ's pace. I think most people will. And then I think the strength, the power, and PJ's ability to lift and get under you is going to take away a lot of those scrambles. PJ's not a guy that's going to get in on a single leg and hold and try to work his way through a finish. He shoots a single. He comes up around the body lock. So then you've got Jordan Williams going into his upper body stuff. And then maybe he looks to go double overs there. You know, I'm getting down the line. But I just think all those positions really favor PJ Duke. So I have PJ Duke getting the win here. And ultimately, bonus points are not going to surprise me in this matchup for PJ Duke. And then at 65, Mitchell Messenbrink, you got the guy ranked number 1, the national champion, the Hodge Trophy favorite maybe at this point. But he's taken on the guy that gave him his toughest test last year, Michael Caliendo, ranked number 3 in America. Now, if you recall, the duel last year was really ugly. Mitchell, I believe, got the tech fall. But by Big Tens and NCAAs, the gap had narrowed substantially. It was a much closer match. Both were decision victories for Mitchell. And what I've seen from Caliendo, he's been really a great flag carrier for the program, for the Iowa Hawkeyes. And he's been consistent with his offense and his attack rate and the variety of offense this guy brings to the table. I think this is super competitive. I think Caliendo has a real shot here. I'm giving him a shot, maybe more than most would, but it doesn't matter. I can't pick it. I can't pick anything but Mitchell Messenbrink getting his hand raised at Carver Hawkeye Arena. I think he's just better, and I think he finds a way to win here. But I am curious to see if, you know, really it was Mitchell overwhelming him in the duel, and Caliendo made the adjustments to make it narrow. Now, a year later almost, has Mitchell put in the fixes, put in the different tactics to, maybe counter the things that slowed him down in the previous Caliendo matches? That's what I'm excited to see. 174 on rankings. This one's pretty freaking fascinating. Very salty. Number 1, Levi Haynes versus number 3, Patrick Kennedy. These guys have wrestled before, and it's been Levi Haynes. Excuse me. But Levi's someone I said, coming into this year after seeing what he did on the senior level, bringing home a world silver and U23 gold, and the dominance in which he's wrestling, right? Getting so many pins, so many turns, so many points. I think this is going to be Levi Haynes' match. I think Kennedy's a tough guy to run it up the score on, and for that reason, I've got a decision for Levi Haynes. But everything's on the table for Levi with his point scoring ability, and if he gets a couple early takedowns, then it could get ugly. But if they go scoreless through one, I think Kennedy can hold this to a decision. Now 184, maybe this is the, if either team had an inkling to do this, I think this is the match you end with. Number 1, Angelo Ferrari versus number 4, Rocco Welsh. Angelo and Rocco, there's a lot of similarities and a lot of differences. I think both of them start with great defense, right? That's what has them in so many matches. That's what helps them win so many matches. I would say that Rocco maybe has better head hands, right? Guys aren't getting in as much. But I would give Angelo the nod with his overall leg defense. Whereas if you get through his head hands, the traps and the defenses that Angelo has to stop your finish are just, really the best in the game at this weight class. And look at the Aiden Sinclair match and how close Aiden was to scoring. And man, he's really uncanny. Now, so the leg attacks, I think Angelo maybe has a little more slicker leg attacks, a little quicker to the leg than Rocco Welsh, who's been working more of an outside step. Both guys are, I wouldn't say reluctant leg attackers, but not the volume shooters that you see with like a Mitchell or even a Levi. So I'm expecting scoreless first period. The mat might be a factor. It would kind of surprise me if it was. I would favor Angelo, but I don't think the mat will be a factor, at least in regulation. If it comes down to tiebreakers, I would favor Angelo Ferrari. And ultimately, I see Angelo finding a way here, whether he gets the takedown or he gets the riding time point or he gets even if he has to win it ugly in tiebreakers, I think he's shown he can do that. And that's why I'm going with Angelo Ferrari to get the job done here and get the win at 184 pounds. 197, it's not the match we thought we were going to get. Yesterday, Tom Brands told the country, Mo and Dean no longer an Iowa Hawkeye. And so that means the Iowa Hawkeyes are looking at some very different options, right? You got Brody Sampson. You've got true freshman Harvey Ludington. Do they consider Gabe Arnold? None would surprise me. I would guess they don't use Ludington here. The number 1 guy in the country. Ludington's lost his last 3 matches. I think there's not much to benefit wrestling Harvey here against Josh Barr, and this guy, he's wilting a lot of wrestlers this year. He looks fine. He missed a little bit of time, but since he's been back, he's been exactly what you expect Josh Barr to be. And so regardless of who Iowa throws out, it's a Josh Barr win. I think it's probably verging on, a technical fall if I had to guess. So probably not a pretty one here for Iowa Hawkeye fans. And now, do they use Gabe Arnold? I think you consider that. He's not going to be used in the other weights, presumably. And I think, Gabe versus Ludington, Brody Sampson, I think he's going to be the most competitive guy you have there at 197. But we'll see. We'll see who Coach Brands winds up using. There's so much we don't know about what's going on behind the scenes with Iowa. So, it allows me to, do a lot more guesswork than, actually knowing. But in the probables, they only listed 2, Brody Sampson and Harvey Ludington. Some final prediction is Josh Barr, winner by tech over whoever Iowa puts out there. Then we go to heavyweight, a very interesting match, a style clash here. You've got Cole Mirasola, aggressive, a lot of leg attacks, struggles with finishing, Okay, you've got Ben Keeter, very good defensively, solid on the mat, just kind of good from everywhere. But not a guy that's going to fire off a lot of leg attacks, right? And you look at his Braxton Amos match, and it's like these matches I could see mirroring one another, where Braxton took all the shots in this match, but got close, couldn't finish. Cole Mirasola shoots a lot. Finishing is the challenge here. So you think it's probably Ben Keeter's to lose, and I don't disagree that Ben Keeter's the favorite. But I don't know. I feel like the strategy of letting guys shoot in on you as much as Ben has and just kind of playing defense, I think that comes to bite you at some point. It feels like Ben is due to have that strategy not work, and I conversely feel like Cole Mirasola is kind of due to get a win against a guy that's, relying on his defense and shutting down your offense and, using your offense against you. So that's why I think I'm going to call the upset. This is an upset, but I've got Cole Mirasola over Ben Keeter. It's going to be tight. I don't feel supremely confident in this, but just call it a gut feeling. It feels like both are due for this result. So without totaling it up, very, very one-sided dual meet, but within a lopsided team score. I think there's a lot of really exciting, really competitive matches. Make sure you're watching. It goes down on the Big Ten Network on Friday at 7 o'clock. Those are my predictions. What do you think is going to happen when Penn State goes to Carver Hawkeye Arena? I want to hear your predictions.